Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're unpacking something that I think is going to feel deeply relatable to a lot of us. It's a fascinating case study that perfectly captures an unspoken cultural dynamic, the unequal distribution of family labor during summer holidays. We're going to dive into this through a beautiful narrative set in a picturesque Punjabi village. Our setting is this charming mud house, the home of a matriarch named Jannat Bibi. She lives there with her son, her daughter-in-law Nuri, and their two young toddlers. As we go through these slides, we're going to break down how a time that's meant for family celebration can so quickly turn into a grueling marathon of domestic work for just one person, and more importantly, how confronting that reality can change absolutely everything. Okay, let's dive into this. Just take a look at this stark, kind of uncomfortable contrast. It's literally the foundation of what we're looking at today. On one side, you've got the visiting guests, Jannat Bibi's daughters, Nazia and Nadia, along with all their kids, totally chillin' in a cool room, sitting right in front of a refreshing air cooler. And then, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, there's Nori. She's the daughter-in-law, the host, and she is physically sweating it out in a sweltering, hot mud kitchen. This single dynamic perfectly encapsulates the divide we're exploring. It's not just about a difference in temperature, it's a profound difference in expectations, entitlement, and the assumed roles within a household during a family vacation. Part 1. The setup, arrival, and expectations. So the catalyst for this whole situation is the start of the summer holidays. Jannat Bibi gets a call from her daughters, Nazia and Nadia, saying, "Hey, we're arriving by train tomorrow morning to spend our vacation at the house." Bam! The expectation is immediately set. Jannat Bibi tells Nori to whip up an amazing breakfast and this huge, elaborate lunch. The very next day, the visiting sisters arrive with a chaotic wave of heavy bags, and suddenly, get this, the house is managing 10 young kids. 10. If you've ever watched even two toddlers, you know 10 is basically a small, highly destructive army. But instead of everyone pitching in, the expectation is that Nori, and Nori alone, has to play primary caretaker, chef, and cleaner to accommodate this instant, massive expansion of the household. Which brings us to part 2, the case study, Nori's relentless reality. Now picture this. While the rest of the family, the sisters, the matriarch, the older kids, are sleeping peacefully outside on those traditional charpoys, catching the courtyard breeze, Nouri's day starts way before dawn. Well before the Fajr prayer, she is already in the mud kitchen kneading dough. As the sun comes up, she's multitasking like crazy, making parathas on the stove, stirring tea, and somehow trying to calm her own crying toddlers with one free hand. By the afternoon, she's seamlessly transitioned to serving cold drinks and putting together these massive lunches, and it literally doesn't stop there. Deep into the night, she's still cooking dinner and trying to soothe her exhausted kids. The whole structural norm of this family basically dictates that the daughter-in-law absorbs the entire shock of the guests, locking her into this endless, unbroken cycle of manual labor. Zero room for her own rest. None. And if that daily grind wasn't enough, just look at the mountain of demands piling up on her. It is like she's running a highly demanding 24/7 drive-thru. Actually, even before they got there, she was up marinating chicken and prepping palau spices. The second they arrive, Jannat Bibi demands lemonade. Nadia chimes in, she wants lassi. Then it's just tray after tray of palau, chicken kebabs, and raita. Nadia randomly demands a milkshake for the kids. And the physical labor isn't just happening in the kitchen, folks. Jannat Bibi actually tells Nori to wash all the visiting kids' clothes. So you have to picture Nori sitting there silently by the outdoor hand pump scrumming clothes while everyone else is eating the food she just cooked in a nice air-cooled room. The sheer volume of these demands highlights an incredible blindness to her physical limits. Let's actually slow down for a second here, because this is the unseen cost of this cultural expectation. The collateral damage doesn't just hit Nori, it falls so heavily on her own neglected toddlers. Her 2-year-old son comes up to her crying because an older cousin hit him, but she can't even leave her chores to comfort him. Later that night, he tells her he's sleepy, and she just has to ask him to wait while she finishes cooking. He literally ends up falling asleep right there on the floor at the kitchen door. Meanwhile, her 6-month-old baby is crying loudly with a severe diaper rash, and not a single family member steps in to soothe the child or give Nori a hand. This right here, this is the breaking point. The system is fundamentally broken when the host's children are suffering just so the guests can feast.
Part 3. The climax. The mirror of truth.
Every system needs a disruptor to actually change. Enter Fatima. She's Nadia's sensible young daughter, and she's been this silent, super observant witness to the whole dynamic. She's watched Nori sweating alone in the kitchen, she's seen the crying babies, and she's noticed that nobody is lifting a finger to help. So she walks into the cool room where everyone's relaxing, and with tears in her eyes, she drops an absolute truth bomb on the family. She announces, to everyone's total shock, that they are packing up and going home tomorrow. When they ask why, she delivers this incredibly powerful line: "We came to celebrate holidays, not to be a burden." She just lays it all out there. She says the heat affects everyone, that her Aunt Nori is working completely alone, and that Nori's kids are suffering in the heat right alongside her. It is this stunning moment of clarity, delivered by the youngest generation. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Fatima drives the point home by exposing a glaring double standard. She turns straight to her mom, Nadia, and calls out the deep hypocrisy. She compares how Nadia acts right here, making endless demands for milkshakes, lassi, kebabs at her maternal home, versus how Nadia behaves when she's hosting her own husband's sisters, her aunts. Fatima boldly points out, "When they visit our house, you never cook this many dishes, nor do you serve them like this." Boom. The room goes completely silent. It's a brilliant comparison because it absolutely forces the family to look in the mirror and realize they are treating their sister-in-law in a way they would never, ever tolerate being treated themselves. Which takes us to part 4, the resolution, shared responsibility. So the crucial point is that the matriarch actually listens. Janat Bibi holds Nori's hand and sincerely asks for forgiveness. She actively admits she messed up. But as we know, a vague "I'm sorry" doesn't really cut it when you still have 10 hungry kids to feed, right? So they immediately implement a new, shared system for the household labor. They divide that massive workload fairly. One sister tackles breakfast, the other prepares lunch, and the third person handles dinner. They essentially build a daily roster. By structurally sharing the responsibility, they instantly solve the summer holiday divide. And the results of this new dynamic, they're immediate and honestly really heartwarming. That very same night, instead of one person slaving away while everyone else relaxes in the cool room, they all share a cold mango shake together. The kids are happily playing, and that lingering tension is just completely gone. For the first time since the holidays even started, Nuri is able to sit peacefully on a charpoy, resting and actually smiling. She forgave them, and by finally dividing the labor, they allowed her to actually be a part of the family celebration, rather than just the staff facilitating it. Which brings us to a direct question for you to ponder. The source material leaves us with a very clear moral. True affection and love in a family don't just grow by eating the food prepared for you, they grow by standing side by side and sharing the work. So think about this. Next time you visit your maternal home or any family member's home for the holidays, how will you show your love? Will you show it just by eating, demanding, and relaxing? Or will you show it by stepping up, taking a shift in the kitchen, and actually helping out? It's a provocative thought for sure, and one that just might save someone you love from completely burning out. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.